Chapter 1, The Pitch. Habakkuk 2:2-3.
Then the Lord replied, "Write down the vision and make it plain on tablets so that whoever reads it may run with it. For the vision awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will surely come and will not delay." The Abuja sun poured golden streaks across the skyline, casting long shadows over the glass facade of the duplex where Cooley, tech genius and relentless codeslinger, tapped the final line of logic into place. His laptop hummed like it knew something was at stake. The digital clock on the wall blinked. 10:43 a.m. Today could change everything. Across the granite island in the kitchen sat Dara, poised, brilliant and focused. Dressed in a crisp teal Ankara blouse, her fingers traced the edge of the presentation slides as she reviewed them for the 6th time. "Let's not oversell the monetization," she said calmly, still flipping pages. "The security specs should speak first. Lead with what makes it matter." Cooley nodded. "Exactly what I thought. The app has to feel like power in their hands, not a pitch." The app, ShieldView, wasn't just another data privacy tool. It was a digital bodyguard with a conscience. Designed to detect unauthorized use of personal data and shut it down in real time, it wasn't about turning data into profit, it was about returning ownership to the people it belonged to. No ads. No silent tracking. Just clean, ethical sovereignty. Cooley had built it from scratch, lines of code that carried months of sleepless nights, caffeine surges, and self-doubt. Dara hadn't written a single algorithm. But she had done something just as vital. She crafted the app's compliance framework. A trained lawyer and the compliance lead at her father's business consultancy firm, she was the only one Cooley trusted to navigate the maze of data protection laws. She built the structure that made ShieldView viable in a world filled with digital landmines, GDPR, NPR, and the fast-evolving rules of cross-border data movement. But today wasn't just about Cooley's dream. It was hers, too. Helping him succeed meant she could finally stop relying on her father's influence and wealth. She was tired of being the polished daughter of a powerful man, the one always doing everything right, always cleaning up after family mistakes. Her father trusted her implicitly, especially since she had taken over the Abuja branch of the firm. Not Laja, her charming but reckless stepbrother, who had no interest in hard work, only inheritance. Dara, the first daughter, had 2 younger siblings from her mother's side still in school. She carried them in her heart, even as she stood in her father's shadow. But ShieldView was her quiet rebellion, her stepping stone to freedom. By 1 p.m., they were seated in the boardroom of NetSecure Africa, a multinational firm scouting Africa's brightest tech solutions. The table was a mirror of chrome and glass. Wall screens blinked with kinetic graphs and corporate logos. The executives looked like sharks in tailored suits. Cooley's palms sweated. But he started the pitch anyway. He laid out the architecture of the app, the autonomous shutouts, encrypted data vaults, AI-driven threat detection, and a minimalist interface built for global deployment. Then Dara took over. Her voice calm, precise. She walked them through ShieldView's compliance backbone, explaining how it was already structured to meet EU, US, and Nigerian data regulations. She unveiled the ethical governance layer, a built-in integrity engine that didn't just block illegal access, but flagged unethical ones. There was a pause, then slow nods. Eyebrows lifted. Even the sternest exec leaned forward. "Good pitch," said the VP of Innovations, flipping the last slide. "We'll review and get back to you." In the elevator down, Dara didn't smile until the doors closed. Then she leaned in, eyes gleaming. "We got them." Cooley laughed, half disbelieving. "We really did." That evening, under soft string lights at their favorite suya joint in Gwarinpa, they toasted with chilled malt bottles. To Cooley's app. To Dara's vision. To a future that was finally becoming their own. But then Dara's phone buzzed. A message from her father. Call me. It's about Lodja. Something's come up. She stared at the screen. They didn't know it yet, but life was about to rewrite everything. The sky over Gorinpa had deepened into a quiet navy blue, the stars flickering faintly above the hum of traffic and smoky grills. Dara leaned back in her chair at the Suez spot, her phone buzzing silently on the table. The message stared back at her. Call me. It's about Lodja. Something's come up. Kuli noticed the shift in her mood. What is it? She hesitated, then exhaled. My dad. That message wasn't casual. You think it's serious? It always is when it's about Lodja. Later that night, Dara sat at her desk in the dim quiet of her apartment, phone pressed to her ear. Her father's voice came through almost immediately. Dara, he said, his voice tired but steady. Thank you for calling back. What's going on? A brief pause. Then, your brother came to see me later this afternoon. Claimed he's been working on some oil and gas venture and now wants me to fund it. Said it's urgent, just like the many businesses he's brought before which I funded and they've all failed. Her brows lifted. Since when does Lodja know anything about oil and gas? He doesn't, her father replied flatly. And he barely had a pitch. Just buzzwords and numbers that didn't add up. But the timing was deliberate. Dara's chest tightened. What do you mean? Apparently, someone he knows at NetSecure mentioned that you were at their office today. They didn't share much, just that a woman named Dara had come in to pitch a tech product. Dara leaned back in her chair. So now he thinks you're funding me, or that I'm sneaking around behind the family's back. Or maybe he even thinks I went to pitch the Fagbemi group without anyone telling him. Exactly. He came storming into my office talking about being left out again. Said you're moving in secret, and that it's proof I should back him now, before you leave everyone behind. Her laugh was short and sharp. He's always been good at rewriting stories. Dara, her father said more gently now, I know who he is. I've never given him access to the business for a reason. He's reckless, undisciplined, and no matter how many second chances I give him, he finds a way to waste them. I know, she said quietly. But I also know how far he'll go when he feels threatened. And I think this time, he feels cornered. Lodja had always felt like an extension of a mistake. A season her parents never talked about. He was born during a painful delay in their marriage, years when her mother couldn't conceive, and her father, in a moment of weakness, had a child with another woman. That child was Lodja. But then God answered. 2 years later, Dara was born. Then her younger brother. Then their baby sister. A full family. A whole one. Yet her father never abandoned Lodja. He brought him into the house, gave him his name, and paid for everything, including his foreign education. But trust? That had always been in short supply. Lodja didn't understand the rules of stewardship. He understood entitlement. And his mother, never far from his ear, nurtured the belief that he was the true heir. That Dara, polished and composed, had stolen what should have been his. Thanks for telling me, Dara said to her father. But I'm not stopping what I'm building. Not for him. I'm not asking you to, her father said. Just watch your back. He's careless with money, but not with envy. Across town, in a rented high-rise he was behind on payments for, Lodja stood on the balcony, pacing with his phone in hand. He had spent the evening making calls, none of which got him the answers he wanted. The guy at NetSecure had only confirmed a vague detail. Dara, his stepsister, had pitched something serious in data security. That was all he needed to hear. Now he had his answers. It wasn't the Fagbemi group pitch after all. What she'd gone to present had nothing to do with them. The informant mentioned she didn't even go alone. She had pitched alongside some guy he didn't recognize. Which, in his mind, sealed it. Dara was moving in secret. Again. Not that he was surprised. Their father had never truly involved him in the business, and he had long stopped expecting that to change. Still, he received monthly allowances in the millions. That softened the edge. Did he want to be part of the business? Maybe once. But even he knew he didn't have the time or patience for the endless board meetings, strategic sessions, and late-night brainstorming that Dara seemed to thrive on. He just wanted to enjoy life. And honestly, what difference did it make? Dara could run the Abuja branch and do all the heavy lifting. His monthly allowance still matched what he might have earned as an executive, so what was the point? No complaints. Let her work. He'd enjoy the money. Still, his stepmother, the ever-watchful one who raised him like her own, kept dragging the issue to his father. Why indulge him so much? Why pour millions into a grown man who contributed nothing to the family business? That, perhaps, explained why their father had stopped funding his half-baked ventures. Mining, logistics, importation, he'd pitched it all. And failed, repeatedly. The man had given up trying. Better to give him a monthly stipend than burn more capital on the latest idea. What nobody knew was that the allowance wasn't even coming out of the business. It was drawn from the interest on a trust fund his father had set up quietly years ago, just as he had done for each of his children. Individual accounts. No drama. So, yes, he'd live well. Let Dara chase contracts and corporate glory. She clearly wanted it. He just wanted to breathe easy. He thought Dara, the princess of the Fagbemi Empire, always one step ahead, always walking like she owned the world. And now she had tech? He felt heat rising to his cheeks. She was going to build her own legacy and leave him to be nothing but a family footnote. His mother's voice rang in his head. Don't sit back and watch her lock you out. You're the firstborn. The name belongs to you too. He opened his email and began to type. From Lodja Fagbemi. Subject, Family Matters. We need to talk. In person. Today. I suggest you don't keep pushing me, Dara. I'm not the boy you used to outsmart. This time, I came to play. He hit send, then stared out at the city. This time, he wasn't asking. And he didn't care who got crushed on the way up. Sometimes, protection isn't about walls. It's about wisdom.